The moment you stop begging for attention is the exact moment you reclaim your power. In a world that trades identity for applause, choosing to stand alone is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate psychological flex. Yet, most people live in a state of quiet desperation, constantly bending their character, altering their words, and reshaping their lives just to fit into a mold created by others. They are terrified of the dark corners of isolation, not realizing that within that very darkness lies the iron required to build an unshakable mind. Look closely at how modern society operates. It functions as an invisible marketplace where your self-worth is auctioned to the highest bidder. If people praise you, you feel invincible. If they ignore you, you crumble. This dependency turns you into a psychological slave, a prisoner to the shifting moods and opinions of people who barely even understand themselves. You spend your finite energy building bridges toward external approval, while the temple of your own mind lies in complete ruins. But there is an ancient, disturbing truth that completely flips this reality. Rejection is not a curse. It is a profound, necessary blessing. When the world pushes you away, it is not destroying you. It is stripping away the illusions, the fake relationships, and the superficial validation that kept you weak and complacent. Rejection is the universe forcing you to look inward. It is the catalyst that forces you to realize a foundational principle. Being alone is not isolation. Being alone is absolute power. Thousands of years ago, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus laid down a principle that shatters our modern obsession with validation. He warned that if you care about things outside your control, you hand over your freedom to anyone who can grant or deny those things. When you beg for attention, when you seek approval, you are literally giving others permission to rule your emotional state. You are placing your peace of mind in hands that have no obligation to protect it. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world at his time, constantly reminded himself of this truth in his private journals. He wrote that it never ceased to amaze him how much we love ourselves more than others, yet we value the opinions of others more than our own self-assessment. Think about the tragedy of that reality. You know your own depths, your own struggles, and your own intent, yet you allow a casual glance, a forgotten reply, or a harsh comment from an outsider to dictate whether your day was a success or a failure. 2. T-T-P. Failure. To break this matrix of validation, we must look at how our brains deceive us. Modern neuroscience reveals that our minds possess an ancient evolutionary flaw. In ancestral times, being rejected by the tribe meant literal death. An isolated human could not survive the wild alone. Because of this, your brain still processes social rejection and a lack of attention through the exact same neural pathways as physical pain. When someone ignores you, your nervous system triggers an alarm, screaming that you are in danger. But this is an outdated biological illusion. In the modern world, being pushed aside by the crowd will not kill you. In fact, it frees you. The Stoics understood this long before brain scans existed. They called it controlling your impressions. When someone rejects you, that event is completely neutral. It carries no inherent malice or pain. The pain only enters the equation when your mind applies a narrative to it, whispering that you are not enough, that you are flawed, or that you are invisible. If you change the narrative, the pain evaporates instantly. To HTTP, instantly. To prove just how deeply our minds can be manipulated by the hunger for social conformity. We only need to look at a famous psychological breakthrough from the mid-20th century, the Asch conformity experiments. In these studies, a single participant was placed in a room with several actors. They were shown a card with a line on it, followed by another card with 3 lines of clearly different lengths. The task was simple: state which of the 3 lines matched the first one. When the actors gave the correct answer, the participant easily pointed out the match. But then, the experimenters instructed the actors to unanimously call out an obviously wrong line. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The real participant began to sweat, look around in confusion, and question their own eyesight. Over multiple trials, nearly 75% of the participants chose to abandon the clear truth right in front of their eyes and agree with the crowd's blatant lie, simply because they could not bear the psychological discomfort of standing alone. This experiment reveals a terrifying truth about human nature. The average person would rather be wrong, blind, and compromised within a group than be right, clear, and rejected by themselves. This is exactly how you lose your power. Every time you stay silent to avoid a confrontation, every time you laugh at a joke you find repulsive, and every time you seek permission to speak your truth, you are conforming to a lie just to feel safe within the collective hallucination. You are sacrificing your authenticity on the altar of belonging. Seneca, the great Stoic statesman, offered a brutal antidote to this mental weakness. He argued that the crowd is a corrupting force, a chaotic wave that pulls you away from your natural alignment. He advised his friends to retreat into themselves as much as possible, associating only with those who could improve them, and avoiding the toxic noise of public approval. Seneca knew that the moment you begin to value the opinion of the masses, you lose the ability to govern your own soul. You become a leaf blown by whatever wind the crowd decides to generate today. When you fully embrace the blessing of being rejected, a strange and magnificent transformation occurs. You enter the state of autarkia, the ultimate Stoic virtue of self-sufficiency. This is the moment you stop treating attention like a drug and start treating your solitude like a fortress. In this fortress, you no longer require a digital notification, a compliment from a colleague, or the validation of a partner to confirm your existence. You look at your own character, your own actions, and your own adherence to virtue, and you decide that it is more than enough. Think about the sheer, unshakable power of a human being who wants absolutely nothing from the crowd. You cannot manipulate someone who does not crave your approval. You cannot blackmail someone who is perfectly content in their own silence. You cannot break someone who views rejection as an internal upgrade rather than an external insult. This is the mindset that makes you truly unstoppable. When you drop the heavy armor of trying to please everyone, your hands are finally free to build something that actually matters. This power manifests clearly when you analyze the archetype of the independent soul. Throughout history, the individuals who moved mankind forward were never the ones begging for attention in the town square. They were the ones who retreated into isolation, who accepted the mockery of their contemporaries, and who forged their vision in the quiet fire of rejection. They did not change their message to suit the ears of the public. They forced the public to elevate their minds to understand the message. Stoicism teaches us that the world is divided into two distinct domains: the things that are up to us and the things that are not. Other people's attention, their praise, their rejection, and their validation belong entirely to the second category. They are external things, completely outside your direct control. Spending even a single second worrying about them is a form of madness. It is like getting angry at the clouds because it decided to rain on your parade. The rain falls because it is its nature to fall. The crowd ignores or judges you because it is its nature to be fickle and confused. Therefore, your only task is to cultivate your inner fortress, your ruling center. When a wave of rejection hits your life, your inner fortress should remain completely undisturbed. You do not react with anger, you do not sink into depression, and you most certainly do not beg for a second chance. Instead, you look at the event through the lens of reason. You look at the person who walked away, the job that turned you down, or the circle that excluded you, and you think, this is exactly what was required for my growth. This is the hidden genius of amor fati, the radical love of one's destiny. A weak mind wishes for a life filled with smooth roads, constant praise, and endless attention. But a stoic mind knows that a smooth road never made a skilled driver. You need the rocks, you need the steep hills, and you desperately need the cold winds of rejection to test the integrity of your character. Every time someone excludes you or ignores your efforts, see it as a mechanical test designed by the universe. It is a prompt asking you a very simple question. Is your worth dependent on them, or is it anchored within you? When you answer that question by choosing your own internal path, the illusion of isolation vanishes. You begin to realize that being alone is not a punishment inflicted upon you. It is a space cleared out for you. The universe systematically removes the people and situations that do not align with your higher purpose to make room for your true potential. If you fight to keep those toxic, attention-draining elements in your life, you are actively sabotaging your own evolution. You are trying to paste broken pieces back together when you should be casting a whole new structure. So, HTTP, structure. So, let them walk away. Let the messages remain unreturned. Let the crowd whisper behind your back. Their behavior is an accurate reflection of their own internal chaos, not a measurement of your value. Marcus Aurelius frequently observed that people who criticize others are usually running away from their own unresolved miseries. Why would you allow someone who is fundamentally lost at sea to judge your ability to navigate the storm? It makes no rational sense. True authenticity requires you to make a dangerous choice. You must be willing to be disliked. If you are not willing to be disliked, you can never be free. You will always be a hostage to expectations, a permanent actor playing a script written by a committee of strangers. But the moment you accept that some people will simply never understand your depth, the heavy chains drop from your wrists. You step off the stage of public performance and step onto the path of personal mastery. This shift in perspective completely redefines your relationship with the world. You no longer enter a room wondering if people like you. You enter the room wondering if you like them. You no longer speak to be heard by the masses. You speak because what you have to say is true, noble, and necessary. You stop chasing the fleeting ghost of fame and start building the permanent monument of character. And ironically, when you stop begging for attention, you become the most magnetic presence in any environment. Because humans are naturally drawn to the rare spectacle of an unshakable, self-contained soul. As HTTP, soul. As you move forward from this day, commit to building your inner fortress with the stone of self-containment. When the urge to seek approval rises within you, as it inevitably will due to our biological conditioning, catch it immediately. Stop and apply the light of reason. Remind yourself of the Dartmouth experiment and the ash lines. Recognize that the desperate need for attention is just a phantom of the ego trying to drag you back into conformity. Choose the power of standing alone. Embrace the magnificent blessing of being rejected. Let the world do what it does, while you remain centered on the only thing that actually matters: your own virtue, your own purpose, and your own peace. You do not need their validation to prove that you are unstoppable. Your existence, your focus, and your unyielding commitment to the path of reason are all the proof the universe will ever need. See you in the next video. If this content expanded your awareness even a little, liking this video and subscribing to Stoic Virtue proves that we do not walk alone on this journey of virtue. Keep moving forward with the light of reason. Everything is in your hands. Thank you for watching.